Yeah, warm welcome to our second round of the Retail Logistics Execution Roundtable, hosted and presented by Westernacher. We have conducted this session already a few weeks back in German, and for our English-speaking audience and the attendees just dialing in at this moment, we have decided to do it in English as well. So for today, I'm happy to present our speakers from Elkjop, Larsen, who is responsible for the supply chain transformation project at Elkjop. We have fulfilled together with Elkjop in the Nordics. We have from SAP, Stefan Binkowski, Director Business Development and really an expert in SAP Retail and Consumer with the slot. We have as well from SAP Manuel Flubacher, Senior Solution Advisor Specialist, who will also take a little bit care of the moderation. I will come to that in a second. From Westernacher, we have Matthias Platzer, Senior Consultant in Yard Logistics, and as well myself. My name is Nicolas Daum. I'm Practice Director and responsible for transportation and logistics at Westernacher. So for the overall agenda, let's quickly dive into that one. We have in total 3 sessions, around about 30 to 45 minutes. I do a little intro and housekeeping right now. After that, Stefan Binkowski from SAP will talk about same day was yesterday, is same hour the future, and share and give some insights about his perspective on retail logistics. After each speaker slot, we have a QA session. So really for the attendees out there, use the chat functionality. You can also speak up if you want in the QA area, which is moderated by Manuel Flubacher. So yeah, we can make this to an interactive session and really exchange also the experiences in the group and all the participants. After that, we have a customer presentation from Mari Larsen about Elkjop and their next generation retail program, as well followed by a QA session. And then we have, as the name says, the logistics retail execution roundtable, Westernacher. So Matthias Platzer and myself will share the insights from our latest projects, from our latest implementations, moderated by Manuel Flubacher, and we deep dive a little bit in the areas of retail logistics and what we have faced the last couple of years. Being that said, I'm handing over now to Stefan Binkowski with his speech about same day was yesterday is same hour the future. So,
yes, and I think that is a more than interesting question. Nicolas, thank you for the introduction. I have the same issue like last time. Currently, I'm not allowed to share as long as you are sharing. Great, we sorted this out. So, and now it's the question on what has been changed in the last couple of months, especially during the current COVID situation, which many of our customers are facing. What was the impact of retail logistics? And first of all, just anybody could give me a short feedback. I think the screen is now visible.
It is, yes.
Perfect, great. So then let's go ahead. What has happened? So the topic today is a perspective on logistics in retail. The topic is last mile delivery, and it's nothing new. And I like to start with a picture here because this is most likely a very known picture which anybody has already seen somewhere from Asia. Where people are stacking boxes on the bike and do a kind of delivery. And this is also last mile delivery because they try to get their goods from A to B where they need it. And what has changed over the last couple of months is that just the pure amount of boxes has been increased. And for that pure guy on the bike, he just stacked it on top. But if we transfer this back to our area and to the world of e-commerce, that is exactly what has happened. So we have a very strong growth in e-commerce. We have a very strong growth in a direct delivery to homes. And although Elkjop is an electronic retailer, I would also like to lead the perspective on the grocery retailing. Also here, a lot of new business models has been started in the last couple of months. Especially here from the German perspective, we have now food delivery via bikes, and also in other European countries, many different models are on the way now. And yeah, that is exactly what customers are explaining me when I run workshops with our customers, that especially the way of how do we get the goods to our customers is at the moment a very important topic. And I already phased it out. We now currently see several kinds of business models in the last interaction between the retail company and the customer. So if we take a look to Asia, we already see robots who are delivering goods to the customers. We see Gorillas and Flink and other bike-based delivery services. We see a lot of cashier-less stores. So like the Amazon Go, where you go in, grab your stuff and go directly out. There are a lot of research done with delivery via drones, delivering packages directly into your flat or into your house with intelligent door technologies. Yeah, the delivery driver, we know him, or delivering parcels directly to your car, which is very common in the Nordics, for instance. So there are a lot of different models how the goods gets to the customer. But the essential part stays the same. So it's still the goods needs to get somehow to the customer, and we need to support the retail companies in order to fulfill this in the best way. And before we take a look to that one, last topic from the market. Last topic from the market is what kind of speed is requested or is desired from the market. And here I've brought some research with me, and this is dedicated to grocery shopping. And I have to say, this is taken from the German market. So that might be differ between the different European countries, because if you take a look to the Nordics or to the UK, there the delivery topic is quite more common than here in Germany, for instance. But if we take a look to the figures, we see that depending on how big the grocery shopping is, so a small purchase, a large purchase, and as a third example, we've got here a purchase purely based on drinks. There is in general an acceptance rate of a delivery somewhere between 15 minutes and 4 hours. And on the first line, you see the overall results from all people. And in the lower row, you see the results from the younger people, so 18 to 29. And here we see that the upcoming interesting customers, so the young generation, have a very high expectation of quick deliveries within the grocery space. And this, especially for the grocery retailers, is a big challenge, because they have to change a bit their business model, which was traditionally pop into a store, grab all your stuff, go home. But we also have to differentiate, because as I said, the figures you see here, they are focusing on the grocery shopping. If you would take similar figures for fashion, for DIY, or for any other kind of sub-retail business, you will find different figures. And I have taken a look across, and if you take, for instance, fashion or DIY, there is an acceptance rate something between same-day delivery or next-day delivery. And that is why I came to the title of my presentation today. Is same day really the future? Do we need same hour? Or where will it go in the next couple of months and years? And yeah, that is more or less not a generic answer possible, because if you are in the grocery space, you should definitely take a look to these figures and think about what will be your business model of the future in terms of delivery times. If you are more working in the fashion or DIY space, you have a bit more time to fulfill your customers' expectations. So it does not need to be same hour, but you should at least think about same day or next day. So, and this, by the way, are typical situations which I'm discussing with our customers. So Nicolas said in the beginning, I'm on the one hand responsible for the business development here on the German market for retail and consumer products. On the other hand, I also run strategic workshops with the managing directors and with the board of directors about retail strategy, about omnichannel strategy, and how a company should set up their IT landscape or their software landscape to fulfill the requirements from the market the best way. And with this background information in mind, so what are the requested delivery times? Let's have a look what I typically discuss with our customers in this area. And typically we start the discussion in the area of, okay, how does your business model work? So on the one hand, you may have stores where you interact with your customers. You have a mobile app. You may have a web shop where you are interacting with your customers, and potentially you are also offering other interfaces like a call center. You may offer already skins for voice commerce. So any kind where you interact with your customer. And in order to do this, you need certain capabilities. So you need something like a POS system in the store. You may need support for your people working in the store, which is called clienteling. Then on the other hand, in the web shop area, you need the web shop, yes. You need something like an app maybe for the customer mobile. Maybe you offer things for the voice commerce, as I already said. What is combining all these channels? And by the way, here you could also add any kind of future channels coming up in the future. So social commerce and Instagram, whatever. What is combining across all these channels is that we have the customer, and we need to identify the customer along this complete journey, independently whether he's in the store, in the app, or in the web shop. And you need to address the customer personally across this full journey. That means this layer of storing customer data, sending personalized marketing and personalized offers, offering personalized services for returns, for damages, for anything else, that becomes a more and more important part in this overall customer journey. And when you have the customer data and maybe the customer found the offer he received appealing, then for sure you need everything to fulfill this offer. So that means you have your back office functionalities. You need a kind of order management where an order from the customer is received, for instance, an e-com order. You need the information about your stock level and your inventory. You need the information about which price does the customer get for this item in this article, because if you use a promotion, he may get a different price than another customer. Or maybe this customer is in a special target group. He's buying a lot of stuff from your company, so he may also get a different price compared to any other customer. So this connection also needs to be there. And then We have the order from the customer, we know from where to fulfill, then we need to send the information to the store or to the warehouse where the stuff is picked, packed, and then finally shipped and traced, because we need to know where is the item. The customer wants to know, does it come today, does it come tomorrow, potentially when does the parcel guy rings my bell. So all this information needs to be brought to the customer, needs to be aligned, or better to say attached to the customer profile information. And finally, we also have a kind of financial booking, because each customer order results in an open posting. So I need to get money from the customer, and depending on the payment method, I also need to think about, okay, how can I reconcile it? Did I receive the money from the payment provider, and all these kind of things. So that are the typical back office processes which are running. Beside that, beside the pure delivery, we also have the product and assortment specific part. So depending in which area you are working in retail, you may have your private label production, or maybe you are even producing completely on your own if you are a brand. Then you need to think about, how does my assortment look like in the future, and from where do I get my items which I will sell to the customers. So this topic is also very important, not the focus for today, but this needs to be also considered in the overall picture. Yeah, and then finally, we have the HR space, which should also be not forgotten, because in order to serve the customer in the store, to do the picking in the warehouses, to do the financial stuff, you need a certain amount of employees doing this for you. Yeah, and as I said, if I discuss with our customers, that would be a full picture from a capability point of view. What does a company need to fulfill, for instance, an omni-channel journey? And by the way, in the next presentation from Marit, we will see a pretty similar picture, which I really like, also with circles, how Marit is showing what the omni-channel journey of Elkjop does look like. That was pretty nice. Okay, so coming from here, how do we map this now to SAP technology, and how do we get the bridge? Because here on that level, with most retailers with whom I discuss, they agree, yeah, we have these capabilities, we are using this, we have different tools potentially, but from a capability perspective, yeah, we understand that is exactly what we need. So if we map this now to the SAP point of view, and we map this now here to our intelligent enterprise view, we have here this several layers. We have the customer experience, so all the touch points with the customers. We have the product driven part, we have the order orchestration, and we have a technical foundation. The important part is we need to view this from an end-to-end process perspective. So we need to bring these capabilities into a certain order that they represent a process. So, and how would this work? Let's take an example of, I want to address a customer individually, and I take a look how it works until he gets the desired item ordered and delivered. So we start internally with an activity potentially driven from the marketing, where the marketing aligns with the pricing office. Hey, we want to do a campaign next week, not next week, in a couple of weeks, it's more realistic. We want to do 10% off for everything. We align this with the pricing. So then the marketing goes ahead and said, okay, now I select my customers from the customer data management. And for these customers, I want to offer this special 10% off promotion. And this information gets then pushed directly to the smartphones of those customers. And at this point of time, the pricing information also needs to be at the consumer mobile, because if this customer is then opening the promotion and he sees the article, he should then directly get the promotional price. So that's the first step. Then the customer decides, hey, that's great. I like the offered article. I will order this one. And he sends the order. And then, based on the current stock levels, we need to decide from where is the order fulfilled, depending if the customer chooses home delivery, if he chooses pickup in store, or if he chooses to get this delivered to any kind of delivery station. Yeah, and this is dependent on what is my current inventory level. In addition, when the order is received and we know from where to fulfill, then we also need to produce the financial posting, because then the customer has a credit towards my retail company, and I need to record this. And depending on the payment he has chosen, I need to verify that at a later point of time I receive the money and I can balance this credit at this point. So then I know from where I deliver, then I can send the information to my supply chain execution. Somebody needs to run, pick the stuff, and either deliver this to the store or put it in a parcel and send it back to the customer. And then in parallel, as I said, I need to take care that I also receive the money from the customer. Yeah, and then finally, if the customer is happy, he may also do a posting on social media and said, hey, that was a great article, great offering. And in the best case, I can even identify this information and bring this back to my customer data pool, because then I know, okay, he reacted to this promotion. He was very satisfied. He did a good posting about what has happened. So it's a very good customer, an important customer for me. So the next time I will run a similar promotion, I may address him again, or I give him a special reward because he has posted. Also, these kind of marketing things are important. Anyway, I need still to find out, has he also really paid? Because if he is maybe one of those customers who's not paying, on a regular basis, then I may exclude him from the next marketing campaigns. Yeah, and this is as an example, that is the way how I typically discuss with our customers, first of all, purely on this process level. And here we also typically have the challenge to bring all the people from the retail company together, because typically marketing, supply chain, store operations, they are sometimes still working in silos, and they are just looking in their own responsible or area of responsibility, and they are also not overviewing the full process. And that is for me very important, to bring the people on board to get this understanding that if I find out in a finance area I have a customer who's not paying regularly, that is a very important information for the marketing if they do personalized campaigns. So it gets all together, and pretty much the same for the delivery part. Yeah, so that's, let's say, the full picture. Now let's reduce this to the part of logistics. And as Nicolas already said in the beginning, in the later stage, our colleagues from Westernacher will talk about our different supply chain solutions, which are part of the overall process, which you just have seen. For me, important at this point is to mention that on the one hand, especially the topic of last mile delivery, that is something where we are currently working together with a couple of grocery companies here in Germany in order to improve this process. So especially support in how to do this last mile delivery in the grocery space. How do we do the sourcing? How can we optimize the pick and pack processes in a dark store or in the store directly? That are things where we are working on, and where we see a big potential on the market. So that is one of our innovation areas where we are currently on the way. And secondly, which is also important, we are not working alone on this supply chain topics. We also work together with a lot of partners, and I've just picked out one here. It's Shipeo. And this is, for instance, a partner solution where you can track the trucks and the containers who are on the way, for instance, to your warehouses, and you get real-time information. Where is the truck? When will the truck arrive? In order to increase the visibility in your supply chain. And as I said, this is just one example. We have got several partners with whom we are working together in order to improve this full end-to-end supply chain view. And yeah, that's the way. And the good part is that now, after my presentation, Marit from Elkjop will outline how they solve this and what kind of solutions they are using. And then finally, the colleagues from Westernacher will also give you a bit deeper insights into different solutions which are relevant here in this end-to-end supply chain scenario. So, summing this up, what should you take away with you? First of all, which delivery model you need is dependent on your business model. So you do not have to aim for same hour delivery if you are maybe not in the grocery space. But you should definitely consider what is your value proposition here. So which delivery model fits to you, and how should the system landscape behind be designed in order to fulfill this? Because if, for instance, your delivery and warehouse system is completely separated from your order system, then it will be a very big challenge for you to get a same hour delivery. So therefore, first think about what is the business you want to drive in the future, and then let's define together how a solution landscape would need to look like in order to be able to run this kind of model. Yeah. Secondly, focus on the full process. Not only take a look on delivery or on how to address my customer. You need to find the full process view, and you need to align on the full process view within your company, so that everybody is on the same page. That is our full process. That is how we drive omnichannel. And Marit in the next presentation will perfectly show this, how Elkjop said that is our next generation retail. That's the full process. And they then just picked out the part of delivery. And this is what we will see in the next presentation in a bit more detail. But it's very important to be clear within your company what's the full process. Yeah. And then finally, as I said, if you really need to deliver within 1 hour, then it would be worth to think about what is my software platform which offers these kind of agile and fast processes. And yeah, you would need this proper foundation, and this typically will not work if you have a separated software landscape with several silos and ongoing data transfers in between. That will cost you at the end a lot of speed, or you will need to invest a lot of project time in order to get this processes so fast that you can, for instance, offer a same hour delivery. And this is something, by the way, we see at the moment a lot on the market, that the customers are thinking about, okay, I need this solid digital platform in order to run my processes, and what kind of touch points I have in the end, if I need to steer a robot to deliver the stuff, or if I have to steer a bicycle rider to deliver the stuff. That's at the end only the way how I do this. But the foundation for this is a rock solid digital platform where this process is run, where it is defined from where does the goods come, from where does the goods go, and then I can give this and hand this out to the execution. With this, I have to say thank you. for listening. And I don't know, Manuel, do we have some questions until now?
Yeah, I think it would be best that we outline this again. If you have questions, you can write them within the chat. We will answer them as fast as possible. Me myself, I will have a keen eye on that. So please, if you have questions, go ahead. There are right now none, Stefan.
Okay.
So I would like to thank you very much for your part here. And with that, I would suggest that we hand over to Mari.
Yeah, I will quickly share the screen. So it's Nicholas speaking. Just that you see the agenda. We are now in the second session. We will hear Mari Larsen from Elkjop and myself, since I was also involved in the delivery of the project. Yeah, being that said, let's go into the customer presentation, customer success story at Elkjop. Handing over to Mari. Hi, Mari.
Hello. Thanks for having me in this session. It's always great to show our story, so I'm happy to be here. So my name is Mari Larsen. I have had the pleasure of being the team lead within the logistic team in our next generation retail project in Elkjop. And before that, I've been working 10 years in Elkjop, always dealing with the logistic part. So great to now be part of this this journey with a totally new system platform to play with. So for those of you who doesn't know us, we are a retailer with selling electronic goods to our customers in the Nordics. We have approximately 400 stores and 10,000 employees. And these 10,000 employees, I think that was one of our biggest challenge in the project, to have all these people on a new system landscape. So when we started this NDR project back in 2018, these were our main 4 topics within logistics that we want to fulfill. Overall, of course, it was the customer experience. That was the #1 priority. Then, of course, also to have a more efficient planning in last mile. And to have a better transparency, both for our people working with logistics, but also for our customer centers, our customers, and also our stores. And of course, as I assume all businesses want, is to have a better overview of our costs connected to the logistics part. So with these 4 topics, these dots here represent the entire scope of our project. So we have more or less changed our entire platform, at least for the end users. We have a new platform for our online store. Today we are live in Denmark. And then we will go further with Norway, Sweden, and Finland when we are on the other side of Christmas. Also, our sales staff, our people working in the stores, they are all equipped with a new sales tools. So it's kind of a skin on top of the ERP side of SAP. But it's a really good and intuitive system to work with, and it's easy to go around in the system and show the customers. It's also something that are available on an iPad or a phone or a PDA, so we can actually walk together with the customer in our stores. And our store operation part, this is mainly those who receive the products from our central warehouse or directly from our suppliers. And these will also, when it comes to last mile, these people working with the store operations will also be the one who do the pick and pack when they get an order that is going to be shipped with sourcing from the store. We also have the after sales departments within our stores. These are the ones mainly handling if you have a phone which is broken, they will take care of that and take care of the reparations. And they will also, if you need, if you have bought a new computer and you need to get it set up, they will also be the one handling those parts. CCC is our customer care center. These are the people handling, if you call us with something, these are the people that will handle your phone call and help you out with any kind of issues you have. And then, of course, our home distribution, which is the last mile part. This is the one I will go into the details with you today. And of course, as Stefan also mentioned several times, the finance part, which is always impacted whatever you do in these dots here. So to focus on the last mile part, this was my team's scope in this project. We have created something that we call delivery assistant. This is the brain, so to say, in our system landscape that will, for you as a customer, when you are visiting our stores or online, this will be the system that shows you the different delivery options based on the product you have chosen, based on where you're going to get it delivered, and also how you are going to get it delivered. So this was something that we spent a lot of time on. This will have all the information about the stock levels, both on our central warehouse and also in our stores. And depending of a huge set of rules will also determine from what source we are going to have the product from, and also what kind of deliveries that are available if you also want the product installed. So if you want us to mount the TV on wall, for example, that's not something we offer in entire Nordics every day at every time slot. So then it will suggest you to pick a time slot which are available for that specific service. So in this case, the customer is always choosing when they want to have the order delivered, and then we will fulfill the customer needs. So here we have everything from same day delivery, and you can also choose delivery 2 weeks ahead if you are going to your cabin, for example. So it's up to the customer to choose the time and method. And then we introduced SAP TM as our main both planning tool and the main part, which is sending the orders to our integrated partners. So this is where the magic happens when we do the planning and operations from our hub network. And then we also created 2 applications connected to TM. This is the Goran, is the driver application, the application that the driver has on the PDA during delivery. And I know that Nicholas will show you a bit more details in Goran later on. And also Habanero, which is the application we use at the hub. So whenever we do receive a line haul into one of our hubs, all the goods will be received in this application to be able to set the correct status. And also in Denmark, in Copenhagen, we introduced SAP EWM. So we created a storage space located centrally in Denmark. This was mainly to push our goods closer to the customer to be able to deliver in a shorter time. And we equipped that warehouse with EWM. And then as just in the bottom here, also the SAP EM, which is the background for this application, and also gives us the opportunity to, based on different events coming in, to either send a SMS to the customer or to email our customer center if something is wrong and we need to take some actions. So these were the main system landscape. And just to give you a bit more insight in what this is for us right now, So what you see on the map, the green ones, they are our stores. So if we have a delivery, especially up in the northern part of Scandinavia, we are able to also do sourcing from our stores to be able to offer shorter lead time to the customer. And then the black squares here, those are our distribution network. So these are our logistics hubs. And then we have the blue one in the middle of Sweden, which represents our central warehouse. This is mainly where all our goods is coming from. So approximately 85% of our home delivery, last mile deliveries, they are sourced from our Nordic distribution center in Sweden. And due to the location of that warehouse, we will cover all the capitals except from Finland, but all the capitals of the entire Denmark with sourcing from this location for next day delivery. And we also have one in the right down corner. This represents our central warehouse located in the Czech Republic in Brno. We also have kitchens in our assortment. So all our kitchens, they are sourced from this warehouse located in Czech. And within this home delivery network, we are now currently delivering approximately 3,500 unique home deliveries per day. And we also seen this increased volume from the online shopping, especially during the pandemic time that we have had. So a good increase on the home delivery network. So really happy that we have this backbone introduced before this pandemic came. So we really have something to perform these services on in a good way. So we can go further, and maybe this is just to show you. This is how the planning looks like in Denmark today, and these here represent approximately 800 unique deliveries. So this is how the planning looks like in last mile. So a lot of customers to be planned on each day. So nice to have this optimized planning tool in SAP TM. Yes, so maybe you will take us through some more technical parts, Nicholas.
Yes, thanks a lot, Mari. Great to hear that story again in this session. So I will a little bit focus now on the implementation itself and on the order flow and what components, modules we have done in the implementation. What we see right here is the overall architecture. I will also give a little bit a background where we were coming from an historical standpoint at Elkjop and where we are right now. Mari mentioned it. We have Denmark seen on the map with all the locations involved in the planning. We are live in Norway, in Finland, in Sweden. So full Nordics basically are live with the solution. I go from left to right a little bit, and is also allowed to use the laser pointer here. So it all starts either with a customer order on the Elkjop website, or from a POS, from a point of sale system in the store, which is then going via Azure into the backbone of SAP ERP. For Elkjop, it was literally a digital transformation, since at the beginning when we started the project, only ERP was in place. So the full logistics were kind of handled without the support of SAP's supply chain execution platform. What we've done now, we have integrated SAP Transportation Management, TM, into SAP ERP. So coming from the web order, from the customer order, which generates actually a SAP sales order, this will distribute it into SAP TM, and of course from SAP ERP, once the deliveries are created, it's also distributed into the warehouse. We have heard it's live in Denmark, for the picking activities. Otherwise, we work with deliveries, regular and build handling units out of that. So the interaction between TM and ERP is guaranteed. Yeah, it's fully integrated as per the standard interfaces we have, and then in TM the demands we are getting from the web or from the point of sales are consumed, upplanned, and dispatched. Yeah, Mari mentioned it. Yeah, the amount of orders, the order volume is completely processed within TM. It's an overnight planning. Yeah, so one of the goals at the project was to have a highly decreased or increased automation process. Yeah, decrease the manual steps and increase the automated processes within the planning. So we have cutoff times defined. We have background jobs defined, which are running over the night. Yeah, consuming all the demands, all the orders from the web or the point of sales, and generating transportable demands. Yeah, in that case, freight orders, or if some of you are not familiar with the freight order, it's the shipment basically. Yeah. Consolidated freight means, yeah, we have to also give this information back to the delivery assistant, and Mari mentioned it as the instrument and the moderating tool within the operations. Yeah, this delivery assistant is taking care that all information are coming together here. There was a custom development done by our partners here from Einer, which are then taking care of the information for the operations. Yeah. From TM, of course, a shipment or a transport order, freight order, has to be executed. So we assume that we have fully utilized trucks based on the algorithm in the SAP TM optimizer to max utilize the vehicles we have. On the one hand side, yeah, when we use our own fleet, and Elkjop has own fleet, own transporters which are going around the Nordics, yeah, and delivering the last mile goods to the customer. Or on the other hand side, when we tender it out, we have integrations to do, for example, the Norwegian, the Finnish postal service. These are directly integrated using REST APIs here. So being that said, and having the baseline of the transportation order, this has to be executed in some way, either on the 3PL, yeah, on the Norwegian Post, or on the other hand side on the own fleet, on the driver side. That's fulfilled via SAP Event Management. So all the transport orders, the freight orders, are getting into the event management. Unique thing is here, since we are in a high volume parcel business, that we have to track on handling unit level. Yeah, so this is definitely something which was interesting to implement, to get the information from the package, from the handling unit itself, via event management back into SAP TM, and then of course subsequently also to ERP for the visibility of the customer service and the customer care center. Mari mentioned it. We have built custom-made solutions for Elkjop using Neptune Planet 9 platform, and this application I will show in a second. Yeah. The backbone of this application for the transport of information and data is SAP EM. So what we are doing, we are sending those freight orders via SAP EM to the driver application, yeah, or the pickup point app. The driver logs on, and if you now assume and imagine the process coming from an overnight planning, fully automated, the next manual step besides the packing is when the driver logs onto his device in the morning, he sees his transportation orders, and I will show you some details of the application in a minute. Logs on and sees his order, and also the stops he has to fulfill with the services Mari mentioned. Yeah, so being it the mounting of TV or a dishwasher, yeah, or a return, etc., is completely exchanged over EM, TM to this driver application, and then he just simply follows the steps in his regular working day, and also fulfills then the orders step by step and stop by stop, basically. On the right hand side, Mari also mentioned it, we have an application called Habanero, created. Why did we do that? We have seen a lot of struggle in the warehouse operations, especially in the hub. So when the line haul comes in, in the morning, and unloading goods at the hub, there were some challenges, for the operations to get all these things sorted, to get the scanning process sorted. Therefore, we invented as well with Neptune 9 Planet 9 platform an application which is called Habanero. Same technology for the scanning process of the packages or the pallets from the line haul, which is then of course connected to EWM, where we have the information stored. So being that said, I give you some impressions from the applications itself, of course, which are relevant for the fulfillment and also for the overall data flow from the outer world into the systems. So the line haul selection check-in, it's called Habanero, as I said, coming from hub operations. So from a process perspective, the line haul, which is not an SAP TM process at the moment, which is outsourced to a 3PL, is kicking into the hub every day based on a regular time plan. And in there, we had the struggle that a lot of packages, pallets were laying around in the hub, and there were no visibility where these goods are, where they're coming from, what's on these goods as well. What do we have? Therefore, this supporting application with the Habanero app. So it's purely scanning from the line haul, doing the reception, doing the picking of the goods from the pallets, and then of course subsequently getting into the warehouse systems for transparency and also for the stock and inventory. From a driver application perspective, as I said, we have a guided wizard, which was created for Elkjop. This is coming from a Westernacher template, from a standard application, which can be rolled out for other customers as well. And then we pick just puzzle pieces, what's required from a custom perspective to Elkjop. And this is a guided app. So as I said, you scan the freight order number normally in the morning as a driver. You receive all the information which are in such an order. So having on this second picture here all the stops where you have to load, where's your first unloading point, and especially with the time windows. We have heard it from Stefan. Same hour delivery. We have heard that the customer experience increased a lot from a time window perspective, where a user literally change or choose the time window where they want to have the goods delivered. So that's populated here as well. Also with the services we need to fulfill, being it mounting, being it the return. And then the driver, supported by the map, follows this route and subsequently then comes to the stop location, fulfills at the stop location each single step which is required, what we see here on the right hand side. So in this case we have a dishwasher and a washing machine which needs to be delivered, and we have two service items which are offered from Elkjop, the dishwashing mounting and the mounting of the washing machine. So that can be flagged in a way, and also of course really important for the payment, and also from a legal perspective is the proof of delivery, which can directly be done in this application via the screen. Exception management is a big point. So what happens if the customer rejects, if we have an unexpected delay during the tour, if we have an unexpected return, for instance. All these things can also be handled in this application via the exception area, where you can have a reason code for it, where you have different pictures you can choose, where you punch in the times, where you punch in the goods, etc. So this is completely end-to-end. And that was an important point from Stefan. If you think the process end-to-end, Elkjop is a role model, I would say, from an end-to-end perspective, what can be done and fulfilled with technology, and especially with SAP technology in this case. Okay, being that said, I'm handing over to Mari again to sum up the overall project and the benefits we had over the time.
Yes, thank you, Nicolas. So I'll try to just map up the benefits that we have seen so far. We had our last stores online on the new platform in September. So for some of our stores, this is still quite new. But we have already seen some benefits, and we can see that these are also increasing for us. Especially this customer experience, where we have both the new delivery assistants that will give the customer the correct options to choose the delivery date and time, and also with help from these applications that Nicolas showed you, to also have a better transparency. And also based on these statuses where the goods are, how far is it in the process, we are also able to offer the customer some flexibility that even in the last minute, the customer can choose to change the delivery date and so on. And also that we now have a more solid foundation, as been mentioned earlier as well. The customer demands, it's changing, and now we have a solid foundation to actually be able to be part of those changes as well. And of course, the efficiency in planning. Before we went live with this project, this was a complete manual process that we were planning these deliveries manually. And it was very demanding on correct people, knowing the area, knowing the traffic, knowing the drivers. Now this is automated. Also means that, first of all, we are more efficient and we are not that depending on the knowledge of each person. And also to make sure that when we do the planning, we make sure to put the deliveries on the correct track based on also the skills of the driver. If we should have something that requires, for example, a plumber or a carpenter that is needed to fulfill the customer order. And of course, this driver app, which also Nicolas showed you in detail. This was made based on our needs to fulfill what we wanted with the new system, and also in case what we should be able to offer the customer. With this, we have a live reporting, which gives the transparency both for the customer, but also especially for our workers at the customer center. If the customer calls, that they actually know exact status of that delivery. And also in the exceptions in the applications, of course, it could be that the customer is not at home. It could be damaged, and also if the customer wants to add an additional service while we are delivering, the driver could also add these services, and it will be visible both in TM and also in the charges part. So this will give us a much better cost control compared to have all these kind of deviations only showing in an invoice later on. And on the cost control side as well, we have all the charges automatically calculated when we are creating the freight order. And then we get these updates from TM. That are adjusting the charges based on delivered, not delivered, additional services, and so on. And in the end, we also introduced this TINA tool, which is an invoice control tool. So today we upload the invoice specification from our transporters, and this TINA tool will show us exactly what are the deviations. So it's easy to either approve or to decline them in a very good way. So I think all these 4 dots here are the one that has given us the most benefits so far. And we can still see that these are increasing. So hopefully it will be even better with these things going forward now that we are live in all countries. So I think that was what I had, Nicolas.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. I think, yeah, if you want to get more about this next generation retail project, just contact me. Yeah, many insights we can share with you from the audience from this project. And I think what needs to be said is that without the innovation, yeah, mindset from Elkjop, that wouldn't be possible. In a way that we can fulfill all these different technologies and all these different applications. So that was, from my perspective at least, a great success story, yeah? How it can be with technology. Good. Manuel, are you there?
Yeah, still here.
Any questions from the audience for this session? Yeah.
No, so far not. There is none within the chat. It seems like it's self-explanatory. But again, if you have questions, just type them in and let us know. What I'd like to have is with reference to all the topics that we have just discussed. Can you from Westernacher recap the current trends from implementers' point of view? And share, let's say, a few impressions from ongoing projects.
So actually, Nico, I would take this over as a first question. Yeah. So I think we need a little wrap up of the two sessions that we just had. So in session 2, we saw the solutions for the transportation planning, for the delivery planning and the warehousing. Yeah. So overall, the planning and execution and monitoring of all those processes. And in session 1, there was one buzzword I really need to point out here, which is the same hour delivery. Yeah, this is also a very important trend of the future that we see from Westernacher side. Yeah, all of this, yeah, the basis for all those trends at the moment is still the ongoing Amazon effect. Yeah, so the Amazon effect from the early 2000s as a driver of the supply chain innovations since then. Yeah, just as a description. Yeah. The customer orders online and then expects a fast delivery. Yeah, and this has two consequences then. Yeah, first of all, there is a complex delivery time which needs to be reduced or minimized. Yeah, so the complex delivery time from the online ordering to the physical handover at the customer. Yeah, which needs to be reduced or at least optimized. Yeah, so not always is a very little delivery time the best for the customer. So it also needs to fulfill the requirements of the customer, so it should be optimized. Yeah, and the second consequence would be that the deliveries are smaller and there is a smaller packaging size. Yeah, the classic concept of the full truckload actually needs to be revised here. Yeah, so we would have smaller transportation lot sizes. Yeah, and in a warehouse we would have smaller quantities to be picked and more picking orders. And all of this, so the most important trend out of this Amazon effect or of this driver of supply chain innovation would be a seamless integration of all physical processes and as well of all the systems in place, all the IT systems in place along the supply chain. Yeah, as an implementer, we are as Westernacher, the target state, yeah, would be a real-time collaboration along the supply chain, including all the internal and also all the external process parties. Yeah, so like a real-time supply chain integration. Yeah, and of course there are prerequisites. Yeah, for this optimized process. Yeah, this is what we want to come up with now. It's like a checklist. Yeah, to give you. Yeah, for this optimized process. Yeah, yeah, but actually. Yeah, this would be then the part of this last section. Nico, I think I would hand over to you then with an insight to the EWM.
I can just weigh in a little bit and give some remarks. What you just mentioned from a
There would be the question, Nico, regarding what highlights you see in the implementation of the intralogistics.
Definitely. So we have talked a lot also last week on the fair at Logistics Summits, a lot of convergences. Yeah, meaning that we have now, or we're now in a situation in the trend where all these different supply chain modules, these supply chain topics, processes, yeah, have a convergence, yeah, and how this can be supported in EWM, or from an EWM warehouse perspective. We can definitely say that the interlinking now between that, so the processes, intra-logistics perspective, meaning picking, packing, commissioning, yeah, all the steps fulfilled during the fulfillment of the delivery, are getting closer together with the transportation management, yeah, meaning, or giving you an example, when we talk about a pallet which is built, yeah, basically from the transportation management perspective, yeah, having this information in the warehouse where we have the actual pallet building, yeah. So this, from a technological perspective, these processes are now getting together. And if we then talk about the yard logistics, yeah, for example, a door assignment or the movement of the trucks itself, which have to be connected to the warehouse, this brings us to the next convergence of modules and processes. Yeah, we see that in the projects, especially in the building industry, where we have end-to-end projects coming from ERP over a warehouse management system, over a transportation management system, using a yard logistics, yeah, where we have to think, yeah, based on the requirements we have, where we have to think and consider this convergence and then bringing it together. And luckily, we are in the position, yeah, to use it and to also implement it then with the SAP S/4HANA technology. That's something on the one hand side, yeah. From a pure warehouse perspective, I mean, it's mentioned by Mari, it's mentioned by Stefan today as well. Hyperlocal, yeah, micro fulfillment within the cities, yeah. We have heard from Stefan, Gorillas or Flink, yeah, which are sourcing goods really in the city centers, yeah, to guarantee a 10 minutes delivery time, yeah. Mari mentioned it, and this is the good thing on this roundtable. Mari mentioned that we have now a real life project where we have implemented the solutions and have it live, yeah, that they, the same logic. I mean, they do it for electronics, yeah, and they don't guarantee 10 minutes delivery circles, yeah, but they source it, for instance, in Copenhagen, yeah, they source it directly, hyper local, yeah, and that brings them, yeah, really the advantage from a competition perspective to guarantee express deliveries and also to react quickly on the orders getting in from the web, yeah, and from the customers in the end to fulfill it. So this is from a warehouse perspective what we have seen in the past projects. From a transportation perspective, I also mentioned it already. Is the urban logistics topic? Yeah, Stefan mentioned it that yeah, the means of transport itself. Yeah, so being it a drone or being it a robotic in the Asian and Pacific area, this changed, yeah, and especially when we talk about urban logistics, and there are fairs, and we have seen this year, yeah, like the last mile city logistics, where we exactly address these topics, yeah. Gorillas, there are business models which are just for urban logistics or made or coming out of urban logistic demands we've seen, yeah. The system can support here, yeah, and we have definitely seen it, yeah, from the TM implementation, and we have shown today that the capabilities of transportation management systems, especially in the SAP TM, are there. It's just about the customers to use it then in the end. Yeah.
Actually, Nico, can I weigh in here? Because we were talking a lot about transportation and execution and transportation planning and routing and that, but we didn't talk too much about the hubs in between. Yeah, so the hubs as the link between warehousing and transportation, or between transportation and the distribution. Yeah, so coming from the supply chain theory, yeah, with the hub and spoke model, yeah, we would have talked a lot about optimizing the transportation lanes, the spokes in this network, yeah, meaning that there would be an optimized routing on the lanes, an optimized choice of transport equipment, and a consolidation of cargo, yeah, for means of transport. But if we are just focusing on the transportation lanes, only on the routes, yeah, the hubs will be your limiting factor here in your supply chain performance, actually, yeah. This is why we also need this optimization on hubs, and the hub could then be anything. Yeah, it could be a factory yard, it could be a railway terminal, it could be a container terminal, and so on and so on. Yeah, the goal should be not only to get control over your transport processes, but also to get control over your processes in the hubs. Yeah. So a target state would be a holistic visibility and a holistic optimization. Yeah. And you can do this if we are going then into direct solutions. Yeah. For example, with yard logistics, you mentioned it before. Yeah. But also with not only with one solution here, with one product. Yeah. It needs to be seamlessly integrated. Yeah. With other systems. So, and one example comes to my mind would also be the arrival planning or the arrival capacity planning here. Yeah. Actually to avoid the congestions on the hub. Yeah. So we are avoiding congestions on transportation lanes, obviously. Yeah. We would do a routing whenever there is an exception. Yeah. We would just reroute the truck. Yeah. During transportation. But we also need to avoid the congestions directly at the warehouse or at the yard, etc. Yeah. So, and this can be done by implementing a mandatory time slot booking. Yeah. So that we would have a steering of incoming means of transportation. Yeah. Actually, you need to also involve then external parties. Yeah. So external carriers. Yeah. That are process parties, yeah, but not internal ones, yeah. And to do this, you need to reduce the complexity here, yeah, for the external parties. So, for example, the time slot booking. So, the time slot booking would just be they select the time of arrival of their means of transportation to the hub, yeah, and they should do this just with a very easy to use web portal, yeah. For example, the SAP Logistics Business Network. Yeah, so everybody can log on from the outside world, like that, and just select then. Yeah, okay, I'm going to arrive at this hub at this very point in time. Yeah, and yeah, actually, this would be one possibility to get control over the transportation hubs there. Yeah. Manuel, maybe from your side, something about the logistics business network, because we have you on the call. You might have some insights here.
Thanks, Matthias. Yeah, of course. I mean, the logistics business network is the topic that we're having right now at SAP from a perspective of logistics itself. Because with all the disruptions, with all that is going on in the world economics, and I mean, on every scale of business that you're doing, you are reliant on networks. You need to know where is your cargo coming from, where is the stuff coming from, what is it, how do you move it, where does it move to, and especially as I am here in the call from Switzerland, you need to know where is it on your yard. That means you need to know some point of docking, scheduling. You need to know when will it arrive where. That is utmost important.
Here I can weigh in, Manuel, a little bit. Yeah, since you have mentioned it from a transportation management perspective, what are we doing with LBN, with other data, with mobile applications? Yeah, what are we doing with supplier information? By the way, yeah. So TM is normally, when it comes to transportation, the backbone, the heart of it. Mari mentioned it as well. This is normally where the operational magic happens from a transportation perspective. Yeah. Now the question is, what we see in the projects, what are we doing with the data we have? Data provisioning is not an issue today. Yeah. You have mentioned we have LBN. Yeah. We can get the information from the carriers, from the 3PL. You have mentioned real-time visibility provider like P44, like Shipeo, yeah, all those guys, we have data provisioning from their end. Yeah, we have supplier information talking about Ariba, yeah, or portals where we receive the information. And we have, when you use own fleet, mobile applications like Goran, like Habanero, where we receive data. So what are we doing with this data? Yeah. From an operational perspective, and I have talked a lot about it in the past, and also on the different speeches we've done together. Yeah, we consolidate this data, yeah, and we arrange this data with the SAP technology, yeah, in an analytics cloud, in a control tower, yeah, where we have from an end user perspective, not the single level, yeah, where you have to really check on order level, yeah, order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 needs to be checked for events. No, we want to check for exceptions from an overall bunch and package of orders, yeah, and react only on that. And that's what we do with control towers or with analytics cloud, yeah. It's all SAP technology. It's there again. It's there. You just need to use it, yeah, and you just need to know. And that's why we are here as partners. You need to know what can be done and what can be a benefit out of it. Yeah. So this is one point from an operational perspective. What we have also seen this year especially is strategic transportation planning. So the interconnecting with forecasting, historical planning, yeah, based on former demands with IBP, yeah. So this integration is the next big thing, yeah. So to combine, and also this is another convergence, strategical transport demands with operational transport demands, yeah. So this is something which will come up in the next months, yeah. And then definitely from a volume perspective, yeah, Elkjop is the next best example, yeah. High volume parcel shipments, yeah. High volume parcel shipments on the handling unit level, yeah. You want to know as a customer, where is my package, yeah. And when you order something at Elkjop or when you order something at Amazon, you want to know how many stops is it far from my end delivery, how much time, and then also, yeah, bridging the gap here from the data provisioning perspective with the data provisioning from the networks, from the carriers itself, yeah, integrated in such a solution. You are in a situation and you are in this advantage to provide the data to your customer. Yeah. That's from a network perspective I can share here. Yeah.
Very outline. One thing to mention here as well is strategic transport planning with IBP. This is one of the bigger things that is coming up at SAP. And as well, the topic of high volume parcel shipments, this is and will be the topic that is coming, because we see that effect that creates masses and loads of volumes really rising all day and every day. Yeah. Sorry, Matthias.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something here because Nico, you were mentioning the mobile driver app for the transportation, and we saw this in session 2 today. And actually, this is another trend. So the contactless process, yeah, the contactless processes in transportation, in the delivery, in the hub processes, yeah. So this is actually a direct consequence out of COVID, yeah, actually. But we would see this in various stages of the supply chain today, yeah. And maybe one example, yeah, because we heard the driver app, we heard about the delivery process, the contactless delivery process. Also, there would be in the hubs where there would be a physical contact between persons, a digital contactless process in place or to be implemented as a trend, yeah. So where there would be like a registration process of the external truck driver and the communication between the internal staff and to the external drivers, just contactless with digital communication. Yeah. So I'm talking about like a self check-in, self-registration app where the driver just states the most important information about him, so driving, the license plate, or maybe his phone number, and then the communication directly in the yard, the routing of the external truck driver in the yard via like short message services or communication. Yeah. So whenever there was some verbal process in between, some verbal communication, yeah, this would be replaced at the moment as a trend with a contactless process with digital communication and with actually a digital monitoring, yeah, of those external parties. Yeah. But yeah, this was just the example I just needed to as well.
Okay, now Nicolas and Matthias, considering all the points and the topics that we had in a reflective way, How does Westernacher see customers in the future from a procedural and also systemic point of view?
I can talk about it from an end-to-end perspective, yeah, because the projects we have started, and I mentioned it last week, we haven't analyzed, this is an interesting point up front, yeah, before we talk about the project, we haven't analyzed what are the key pain points of the customers at the moment, where do they struggle at the moment, and I did that analyze, and 70% of our projects we started this year, yeah, are really based on manual processes, are based on manual interactions, etc. That's where really logistics company, they think about the future, but they still moving in the past. Yeah, and that's what we see from a customer perspective. That's what they drive you. Yeah, there is a kind of paradigm change. Yeah, that we have to do something now. Yeah, from an implementation perspective. Yeah. Also with the direction given from Waldorf, from SAP, yeah, bringing all the systems together, the projects we have started, yeah, is more from an end-to-end perspective. So what can be done in your enterprise, in your backbone, yeah, in your enterprise resource planning? What can be done together with a warehouse and transport and yard, yeah? So this is really the projects we kicked off this year. I mean, these are longer cycles, and this is literally a transformation, yeah. And the good thing is, it is realized now, yeah, with our customers together with us, yeah, that this paradigm change is now in progress. Yeah, it takes a little bit, but in the end, of course, there will be a change of operational work as well. Yeah, I mentioned it. Yeah, the control tower is a topic, yeah, where we react on exceptions. Then the manual processes and the lack of communication in between, this can be sorted out within months. Yeah, from just pure operational perspective, not using spreadsheets anymore, not using the telephone or email. Yeah, just communicate by using the tools itself. Yeah, this is a direction, and the projects they show it, which will continue over the next months, years, definitely. From a yard perspective, Matthias, yeah, I just see you.
Yeah. Not only from a yard perspective, but also from, you were mentioning the end-to-end process. This is what we are doing this year, yeah. But also not only the integration between the systems, but also the integration of external equipment into the system. So feedback from external equipment or infrastructure to the system. So very basic example here, because we are in retail today, yeah. Cool trucks or chilled goods or in the truck, yeah, they actually can be integrated to the system, either SAP TM or Yard Logistics or whatever system needed, yeah. So this is another trend today, that we not only do an end-to-end solution out of the system perspective, but also from the physical transport equipment, yeah. So why would we do this? Because we need the feedback, so the automated feedback from the external devices into the system, so that you can work with this in the system, or the system can work with this. Yeah, if we are thinking of a proactive system, yeah, which receives direct feedback from devices, for example, this temperature sensors, yeah, on trucks, yeah. If certain thresholds are met, yeah, the system could alert the process parties, internal or external ones, and the system can determine actually the follow-up actions already. Yeah, it can actually also trigger follow-up actions autonomously. Yeah, if it is proactive. Yeah, and this is all playing into the same hand. It is all about automation as well. Yeah, not only having just a perfect system in place, an integrated system in place, but also talking about how to automate those processes without any manual interaction from staff, from internal staff or from external parties. Yeah, there are several use cases for this. Yeah, but I think the temperature one is the best one here. Also, this infrastructure integration, yeah, can also be used for several other steps in the transportation execution. Yeah, for example, routing of the trucks. Yeah, but not only routing in traffic, but also routing the transport equipment to parking spots with power connection, or to doors with those power connections for the temperature and so on and so on. So we can actually, what we need to do is to enable the system to work autonomously, yeah, to have an automated process in place. Just as one very basic example here, what we are doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One thing that comes to my mind, and you mentioned Nico last week in Berlin. We have a few friends and partners there as well. And how do real-time visibility providers play along the entire process chain, especially in retail and on the last mile, from your point of view, and as well, of course, Matthias' point of view?
I mean, I also mentioned it. Yeah, I mean, this is another puzzle piece, in my opinion, which was missing in the past. Yeah, and they are coming, I mean, like mushrooms out of the forest at the moment, right? And also the topic is really hot. So from my perspective, yeah, it's one of an essential, crucial puzzle piece which was missing in the past. Now we have it. Now we can receive this data. Yeah. The integration from a pure implementation standpoint is great. Yeah, so we have standard APIs. You can just literally plug and play. These providers, they will take care of the onboarding of carriers. Yeah, so if you're using a telematics system as a trucker, yeah, you just literally you sign something where you say, hey, I allow you to connect to my telematics system, and that's then proceeded by those providers. And then we as an implementation partner for SAP Transportation Management, yeah, once we have this connected with LBN, yeah, or directly, then we are able to have the data. In the end, yeah, customer experience, customer visibility, or the visibility which can be provided by the shippers, yeah, or by the logistics companies as well, yeah, is increasing. This is another big point for having the end-to-end mindset, and also the end-to-end vision implemented, in my opinion. Looking at the time, Manuel, do we have questions from the audience at the moment?
So far, let me check. Nope.
Nope.
None there right now. To me, there will be just something to point out that regarding the real-time visibility, more and more networks are coming to our network, to the logistics business network.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing day by day, by suppliers, by shippers, by carriers, by customers, etc. And we see the effect that takes more and more place. And as I am coming from freight forwarding and logistics itself, I know very well what we're talking about and what advantage we are talking about. Because when I used to work in freight forwarding, there it was all siloed and in parts. And nowadays you can have one end-to-end view, and that brings masses of advantages. Masses.
I mean, that's interesting, because we were talking a lot about warehouse management systems, transportation management, yard logistics systems. From a pure customer standpoint, yeah, who is interested in real-time visibility,
yeah,
not necessarily need to be on a transportation management system. And this is the interesting piece. Yeah, many of the companies are not on a SAP TM. Yeah, they are just using an ERP system. Yeah, also therefore it's very interesting, yeah, to connect LBN, yeah, in this case global track and trace. Yeah, so it's not a no-go criteria if you don't have a transportation management system in place that you cannot use real-time visibility. Yeah, that's not true. You can use it, yeah, and we are also there to implement that for you, yeah, if you're on an ECC platform still.
That is very well pointed out. I mean, there are various possibilities and options to go ahead with that, and I just suggest to bring visibility into the supply chain, because you will know what actually has been done with your cargo, and if it was on time, and if your customer was happy, etc. And this is, let's say, like the German style, the A and the O of what we're doing. And when we're selling stuff, we need to know if the customer is happy. And I think, as you mentioned it, this is one heavy piece of the puzzle. So it's the way to go. And in this case, we have got several possibilities to go ahead with LBN, with freight collaboration, with global track and trace, etc. So we're really more than just ready and happy to give advice and to help further. Yeah.
Really good. Being that said, it's 30. I would say we closed this round. Yeah, this was the second round, the English version of the roundtable. Thanks a lot for the audience. Many people dialed in during the course here. A lot of kudos to the moderation from Manuel, for the presentation by Mari, which unfortunately left us already, and Stefan, who had another appointment. So thanks a lot to all of you, Matthias as well, yeah, for the great insights from Yard Logistics. This session will be recorded for the audience. You can definitely get it online. And for all the questions around SAP, when it comes to the products and also the implementation, feel free to reach out to Westernacher, to us, or to SAP itself, to Manuel. Thanks a lot.